Borderlands. It is out. It's been out for almost a week now, and what an experience it was. I mean, just in terms of box office revenue, this film has raked in a grand total of $14.9 million against a budget of $120 million. That is on track to be one of the biggest box office disasters in cinema history.
Exactly what it deserves.
Couldn't have happened to a better movie.
I mean,
deserving, very deserving.
I think we kind of all knew it was going to be bad. Like, the trailer was horrendous. Nobody was enthusiastic about it. Like, the geriatric cast wasn't really selling anyone on it. And the fact that it was released into the August dumping ground is just further proof that, like, the studio themselves had no belief in it. But wow, even I didn't expect it to be as bad as it was. Like, it was genuinely... I was saying this to Platoon. It's only like 100 minutes long. It honestly felt like about 5 hours. It was a slog to get through.
I'm actually surprised that the budget is that low, considering the fact how long it was in development for. It was it has development as far back as the earliest was as far back as like 2015, and they did a bunch of reshoots. I'm shocked that it's not closer to 200.
The original plan was for it to be R-rated, which I think would have been a much better idea. I think you could have had a lot of fun with it, considering the games are quite, like, violent and gory and stuff. Like, go into that 100%. But instead, you got this. Ugh. And yeah, man, the casting. I mean, I suppose there's so many different aspects of this film to talk about, but the casting is horrendous. Like, casting Cate Blanchett as Lilith, that should have been played by an actress in her mid-20s, like someone who's really young, energetic, like, no fucks given. And instead you've got this like woman in her mid-50s who just looks tired and bored.
It was actually my first note when I was watching it is Cate Blanchett is too old to deliver the line, "That sounds like some wild BS, doesn't it?" And it's like, that's not a Cate Blanchett line. You shouldn't be saying that. Why are you saying that?
Were they putting stuff on her face to make her less wrinkly?
I think
she's had work done.
Well, it also looked to me like they had one of those blur filters on. Like, I don't know if any of y'all have seen Morning Show. I can't remember where they streamed that, but it's Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon, and they both look like two giant blurs because they keep applying these like defocusing thing, and I think that's what they did to Cate Blanchett in this movie.
I think you can actually do that here on StreamYard, if I recall correctly.
Shit, let me go into the settings. Hold on.
I'm on it.
I need it right now.
Oh yeah, here you can. Touch up my appearance. Wait, let's see how bad I look. Hold on. Yeah,
you see how it's turn into Cate Blanchett when you hit that button. It's going to be.
But see how it's. Yeah, you can see it's like removing everything from my face.
Then that's kind of how she looked in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that. It's like you can. Her face kind of looks stretched. Like her mouth is kind of like that. Like she's had a facelift or something. And it's, I get it. She's older and stuff, but it just becomes really obvious when she's the main character like this. And I could even live with the whole idea of like picking an older actress for this part if it was an actress who had some kind of pedigree in the action genre, like, I don't know, Charlize Theron or Mila Jovovich or something, who at least has done this stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I can kind of get behind her doing like an action movie like this in middle age and see how she copes with it. But Cate Blanchett is like not known for this kind of thing at all. It's just such a random choice of actress. I don't know why she did it. And when she was asked about it, she basically said, yeah, it was COVID and I was going a bit nuts at home, and I just needed something to do. So I signed up for this movie.
Okay. Imagine you were the director and they said that. You're like, thanks.
I looked up IMDb as well, like, because Eli Roth directed it, and he said he was inspired by watching his French bulldog taking a shit to pitch this movie. And I kid you not,
right?
Because apparently, like, it looks, when your dog takes a dump, it looks at you like, it needs reassurance that it's okay to do it or whatever. And he's like, okay, that was my inspiration for Claptrap as a character, and that's how I pitched the film. Okay. Sure, yeah.
Bold strategy. Let's see how it fails at the box office.
Yeah. And then
what I wouldn't have given to be a fly on the wall of that meeting. So what was your inspiration for this? Well, I saw my dog take a shit. Let's just start with that and we'll move forward.
It's like, you're hired. And yeah, like you've got elements like Jack Black voicing Claptrap, which is legit one of the most gratingly annoying characters I've seen in recent years. It's like they gave him no direction and no lines even. It's like he was just trying to make it up on the fly.
He is kind of like Claptrap in the games, though. Like, if you've ever played Borderlands 2 and you've just sat in place for any long period of time, you want to kill him. But the games have the advantage because you can run away and you don't have to be around him. Whereas the film, you are stuck with the most... He's supposed to be annoying in the games in short doses, but in the film, you are stuck with him. And it's like you have to make a change to that character. You cannot be annoying people 100% of the way through your movie. That is not how you get people to enjoy anything. So either you change his character or you don't give him such a pivotal role, but you don't give him full-on Claptrap, full-on all the time. It's, oh God, one of the most grating experiences I've had in the cinema. Well, I wasn't in the cinema. One of the greatest experiences I've had watching a film for a long time.
It was a nice trip to India for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm inspired to sign up for betting websites for some reason. I don't know.
Because on that note, right, the dialogue for him was awful. Agreed, but the dialogue for everybody was awful. I was losing it listening to how they were doing everything and like the most predictable story progression stuff. But did I hear it correctly? Did she actually, when they teleport, first of all, they teleport and she says, "We teleported." I got the this is the Clone Wars vibes from that line, especially being the same actress, by the way. But she said after that, she's like, "I just moved us with my freaking might." And I was like, wait a minute. Like, they just take that from Forspoken? Like, Jesus Christ. There's so many like just amateur mistakes when they Claptrap and Kate Blanchett are walking into where she used to live, right? He says, "Was this your home?" And then she says, "Yes, I used to live here."
That's generally the definition of a home, I suppose.
One of my favorite things, and that's not even the first time that they teleport, because right in the beginning, they specifically state that the planet that she's on with the bar, with Promethea, is 50 light years away. And then next scene, she's just on Pandora.
Yeah.
You can't... 50 light years is a measure of distance. Like, you can't...
I mean, I don't know what the technology is, whether they have warp drives or something, but like, I get the really strong impression that this movie has been butchered in editing. Like, there was a ton of extra stuff there, and like they've just cut it all out, and that's why they have these weird voiceovers from Lilith, just saying like, "Oh, so I arrived on the planet and killed a bunch of people, and then that led me to this thing, and that's how I got to the next stage of my quest." It's like, okay, that was probably a 20-minute segment that you've just cut from the movie because you needed to save time. And I guess it was like, just cut this film down to the bare bones to get as many showings in as possible and try and get that opening weekend as high as you can, because nobody will see it after that.
Which is mad, because like, it made it way, way less relatable for anyone who was ever trying to come to this movie who didn't know a huge amount about the games. And like, I don't know a huge amount about the games, but I have played them at some point in the very distant past. But that you can't rely on just saying, well, you know, it's a character, she looks like Lilith, she's called Lilith, so, you know, you remember her. Likewise, Claptrap. Like, you will get the jokes because the jokes are things you remember from the games that you played back in the mid-2000s. And it's like, that's not going to be true for the vast majority of your potential audience. You do actually have to lead people into your story. Even Super Mario Brothers led people in with a sort of truncated origin story, and that's one of the most recognizable franchises of all time. Yeah. Borderlands takes this weird approach where the first opening 10 minutes is backfilled exposition of what, by the way, I think would have been a way better film if you wanted to kick off a Borderlands movie franchise, which is Kate Blanchett playing Lilith's mother looking for the vault, which could have ended on a really sour note where, you know, she has to abandon her daughter and you can pick up with the daughter in a sequel, and then you've started the story where stories should begin, which is the beginning of the story, as opposed to Kate Blanchett telling you all the interesting stuff that happened and then dumping you into the middle of a story nobody gives a damn about, including the people in the story, and then expecting you to sort of coast along with vague memories of a game that you barely remember playing. So, like, the entire thing was ill-conceived, even admitting all the cutscenes, everything that was evidently butchered in editing. I think the entire premise was always going to be balked.
Oh, it was, you know, that opening, I was like, oh, we're getting a broad view of the story from Kate Blanchett narration. I can't help but think of Lord of the Rings right now. It's like, it's so unfair, but there we are.
It's so funny that she's gone from the heights of cinema to this. You know, like it makes such an interesting comparison. Like, I know she's done a million movies in between, and like she is like an excellent actress, but my God, just this is not her thing in the slightest. I don't know why she was brought into it. I think in most cases the casting is terrible.
I'm sorry. Any movie that casts Kevin Hart in anything, his whole thing is just being loud and small and frantic. I like it better when Charlie Day does that exact thing.
The weird thing is he's not even playing up to the whole like comedic aspects of his career. Like he's genuinely, for the most part, he's not trying to be that funny. Like he's a more serious character, and like, yeah, there's one gag about his height, but then apart from that, they don't really mention it. And it's like, again, you've miscast a guy who's like known for being this comedic actor who's small and funny and whatever, and you're trying to make him serious and like an actual legit special forces soldier who can do, like, he's pretty formidable in combat.
When they gave him the serious sacrifice scene, that was, you could see him coming a mile away. I just love, they'll get into an elevator, they're like, all right, go. And it's like, oh no, someone has to go outside and press a thing and do a thing to make us all go, no, someone's gonna sacrifice themselves. And he's like, I'll do it. And the girl's like, no. The music swells, and you're sitting there like, I don't care. Why would you?
The thing is, I knew he was going to be alive. Like I knew, like at this point in the movie, it's like this movie is completely consequence free. You know, you've got these crazy sequences where people are gunning down like the what are they called, the Reapers or something, like the crazy guys, the psychos, yeah. Like gunning them down by the dozens, setting them on fire and stuff, blowing them up, and there's not the slightest bit of blood. It's just like a bunch of, you know, extras just lying on the ground. And so again, like with this, I knew he wasn't going to really be in danger. He'd probably make it out. And sure enough, you then get a scene where he's just buried under a big mountain of corpses, gets up like nothing happened, and then off he goes.
That felt odd. Like another amateur mistake, because we could have assumed that's what eventually happened when he was left down there. Instead, they show us everyone's dead, and he gets out of the pile of corpses, and he's like, right then, off I go. And then they show his grand reappearance. You'd think most normal movies don't show you the part where he gets back up, so that then they can surprise you when he arrives. Those are really strange decisions. Remember the bit where the lady that's been chasing them throughout the whole movie is like, no, I will stand with you because I... And then she's killed. I was like,
yeah. That is possibly the only bit in the movie that got a slight chuckle out of me.
It did out of me. Okay. I had to wonder if, like, was I with the film on that one or not? I assume that was intentional because I guess we don't care about whoever she was. It was just funny to see her die. I don't know. It's like, all right then.
Yeah.
One of the things
about... Well,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, I love as well, like, because the Crimson, what are they called? Like the
Crimson Lance.
Crimson Lance, that's it, yeah. So they're sent in, and like their overriding mission is like, you have to recover Tina alive. Like she is the girl, literally the girl who's the key to everything, at least from their point of view. So they're in like a car chase bit, and they are doing everything in their power to blow up the car and kill everyone on board. How does that complete your mission? It's just like, again, dumb stuff like that, where it's like, you're going to kill the person you've specifically been sent here to capture alive and intact because you need her to open the vault. I was like, nah, we'll just kill her. Why?
So, one of the things I love is that, and I said it in my review, that everybody seems as though they're rolling a 20, you know, a tabletop role play reference, because nobody fails at anything throughout the entire movie. And that's the opposite of Borderlands. Is very trial and error. They set up like a checkpoint where you die and you come back, and you die and you come back, and they never get close to that. They never get that feel of you're really in danger on Pandora all the time. That's the whole point. But they never feel like they're in danger once.
Nobody really acts like they're scared or anything. It's like they're more just like momentarily inconvenienced by things, and that's about as far as it goes. And so when the characters don't really care about the danger that they're in, and the script gives us no reason to believe that any of them are really going to die, I'm not going to care when they get put into action sequences because I know they'll all be fine. And so it's so consequence free and light. It's just,
yeah, it was a major problem. Like the first two acts of the film was, but almost every single Lilith line was rubbishing where she was, what she was doing, who she was with, what everything looked like. It's like, you are giving my opinions on the movie, but I don't want my protagonist to be doing that for me, because like if you think this is all shit and a waste of your time, then so do I. At least get invested in something. There's got to be some peril and danger in there somewhere. Can we also like say a quick word like in like solidarity, I guess, maybe with Jamie Lee Curtis, who the week after saying that Marvel is in phase bad stars in this movie. Like, that's good timing. Really well done.
She didn't think that one through too well. I mean, she was 100% right about Marvel, but
she put out an apology, and then Ryan Reynolds made fun of her.
I missed that bit.
She said something like, it's inappropriate. She probably shouldn't have said it. La la la. That he said, "Does everybody who makes fun of Marvel have to apologize?" Because obviously he talked about his little like insulting Wolverine. So
she was like the exact opposite of Cate Blanchett in the movie too. Like Cate Blanchett was, I want to say that they wanted her to be stoic, but she's just dead.
Well, she's not. She's exposition grandma. That's her entire role. It's like she'll have a scene when nothing happens, and then she'll say, "Oh, I suddenly remembered that your mum gave you to me when she went off to find the vault, and you're really important."
Like, but she even jumps from like really hyper to that, what you just said, exposition grandma, to that. It's this huge swing between her character throughout every scene that she's in. It's the exact opposite of what Cate Blanchett's doing, which is just this headlines that I need to deliver, and then I'm done. Like it's the exact opposite of that.
This movie has got such a. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's something kind of cool about giving older actresses like a chance to do, especially action movies. Like there's something kind of weirdly cool about like older women like firing guns and stuff. But it's so consistent in this film. They even had Gina Gershon as Mad Moxie, and like that character is meant to be like, I don't know, 30 at most. Gina is like 61 years old.
Yeah.
Why?
They somehow made her look older. They actually made her look older somehow. She, like, you see the video, the interviews, and she doesn't look nearly as decrepit as they made her look in the movie.
Well, I mean, no, but in the movie, she's wearing like a corset and everything. Like, she, I don't know, for 61 years old, she probably looks okay, but like, she is very much an older actress, and it's just such a weird choice for that character. Because again, like, she's meant to be a relatively young character, and she's a femme fatale. Like, she's the very definition of that in the games. And here, you're just casting all these weird actresses that are so out of step with the characters they're meant to be playing. Yeah, no idea what the thought process was behind it.
That's who was available. Basically what
it might be. I don't know if it's a COVID thing or what. Like, you'd think that you want to keep old people away from like film sets and stuff, you know. It's like, you guys are vulnerable, go home or something. I don't know.
But it's like they did this weird thing where they aged up parts of the cast and not other parts. Like Tiny Tina's not aged up. Marcus, the guy who drives the bus, not aged up. But then they age up other people. So it's either you got to do one or the other. Age the whole cast up or don't.
Yeah. I mean, Eli Roth said he was doing this for the best actors for the job. Okay, that's what he chose. It wasn't about age.
Sure. Yeah. It's great that they brought in Tim Miller as well. Like, you know, the man with the fine pedigree of doing Terminator Dark Fate to work on this movie. Like, okay, yeah, the man's on a roll, clearly. But yeah, I mean, Borderlands, yeah, it's destined to be forgotten as soon as it came out. Essentially, I can't imagine it's going to have a great second weekend, and it'll probably be out of cinemas within a week or so.